Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Chelsea. You know that, I know that, and I'm just a lady with a bulldog, a camera, and too many opinions. And today I'm reporting live from an active volcano because we have yet another Gulfcoast Stapletons update.
Kyle, I dare you.
Now, if you're unfamiliar, the Gulfcoast Stapletons, Brittany Stapleton and Josh Stapleton, are a married couple that have a smaller following on TikTok, or they did at the time at least, and they would post reviews of restaurants and places in the panhandle of Florida and Alabama. They would post like lifestyle content, go on their boat all the time, and really just, live in that like Gulf Coast life. Well, if you've been living under a rock and haven't been watching my videos, feel free to stop this, go watch the video. Actually, I believe I did two on them, an intro video and then one going over their recorded jail calls that were released and like all the communication and stuff. So that's pretty crazy. So go watch that and then come here so you can actually be like really disturbed, I guess, or, filled in, all that. So Josh was arrested on having many counts of CSAM, which is child sexual assault material. Okay, we're not going to call it CP because that implies that there is some type of consent between adults, and obviously children cannot consent. And these are quite literally photos and videos sometimes, but in this case, just photos, images of crime scenes happening. So that's awful. And we hate that, obviously. We on this channel, on this corner of the internet, and I would hope on every corner of the internet, except for, the depths of hell, but we do stand firmly that everyone who is into that, looks at it, consumes it, makes it, distributes it, thinks about it, should be thrown into an active volcano, and the people who enable them, support them, lie for them should also be tossed in as well. Anyways, so he did take a plea deal and pled guilty to, I think it was 15 or 20 counts. I can't remember at this point, but either way, he did plead guilty, accepted that plea deal, and is doing 5 years in prison. And then I believe it's like 15 years on probation, and he will be like on a registry, can't be around anyone who, is under 18 or whatever. So there's that, right? Josh, now in prison, he is guilty. Okay. And Brittany, the wife, is still supporting her husband, still sticking up for him and trying to, get an appeal for either getting him out early or adjusting the terms of his probation. Either way, she's embarrassing. She's annoying. Josh isn't really included in this video. This is more so about Brittany Stapleton. So we have Brittany Stapleton, and then we have Kyle Connolly, KyleOnTheCoast. I personally really like Kyle. She's great. Before making this video, I actually talked to her for like an hour and a half, and we discussed just this entire situation because I had people in my comments, my DMs saying, did you see what happened? Kyle and Brittany went out to lunch and it looked like, a bestie girls brunch. And I was like, there's got to be more to that, obviously, right? That's not just it. She's not retracting anything. Like, come on. Kyle is someone who, in my opinion, does stand on business. And I as well do think that, hey, sometimes to get things done, to obtain necessary information that you need to talk to, engage with, or, meet with people who you're covering on your channel or on your profile, whatever. And a lot of times people that you do not agree with, meeting up with them and trading information or confirming information, whatever, doesn't mean that you co-sign their behavior. I just want to make that clear. Okay. So KyleOnTheCoast is pretty local to Brittany Stapleton. They live probably, really not that far away from each other with like no traffic. I'm pretty sure it's like 30 minutes or something like that. But either way, they live pretty close to each other. Now, Kyle has been reporting on the Stapletons over on TikTok and then also other hot topics as well when it comes to scammers and CSAM and catching people like that. She has released calls and texts between Josh and Brittany and focused on Brittany's continual support of her husband after he was charged and pled guilty to possessing CSAM. Now, Kyle was threatened recently by Brittany Stapleton. Now, here's the incident. In one of the prison calls, jail calls, whatever that was released, Brittany Stapleton said to her husband, Josh, who is in prison, that Brittany was going to have her father, Brittany's father, who is in prison, currently serving a sentence for a manslaughter. It's a horrible story what happened. And Brittany was going to have her manslaughter committing father talk to one of his friends on the outside and have that friend on the outside hurt and sexually assault Kyle.
Back on the Gulfcoast Stapletons, we've now learned that Brittany, the wife, her father is in jail or prison in, I believe, Mississippi for capital murder. I don't know if he's been convicted, but I know he was indicted for capital murder, which is the most serious charge you can get. And now Brittany is literally threatening people with him. So KyleOnTheCoast is an influencer with a very large following, a true crime influencer, and she's been posting about the case. Just facts, nothing wrong with that. But obviously Brittany has had an issue with that and has literally threatened her, and I will post a threat right here. But it says, Kyle, you feel free to say what you want all day. This isn't a threat, but, meaning it is, I will warn you. You see these charges. This is not the one I would be going after. My dad has nothing to lose. This girl needs some guidance. Like, she has fallen way off. But as I've stated, she's an evil person anyway. But it just keeps getting crazier.
So from just hearing that, you would think like, oh, damn, what she's saying is true. Like, why would you just say that if you have, like, if you didn't? It just seems like something weird to say or to claim on a recorded line, obviously, or just even not on a recorded line. Seems like something crazy to say, right? Especially to your husband, who's a child predator serving a prison sentence, and about your father, who is a violent man and serving a sentence for violent crimes and ultimately being the reason why someone died. Now, Kyle did check with the clerk's office or whoever she would have checked with, and they said that Brittany hasn't spoken with her father since like 2022 or, years ago. But when they met up, Brittany was like, no, I have talked to my dad. Here's my like prison communicator app. And we do talk. And she handed Kyle her phone and let her, scroll through everything. Right now, there is a reason why Kyle was taking that statement very, very seriously, right? We'll get to that in 1 second. Kyle has said though that, and I did just confirm with her too, I texted her and asked her to confirm it, but Kyle did say that when they met, Brittany did say, no, I didn't ask my dad to do that. I was bullshitting, basically. Again, weird thing to say, but either way.
She's actually been threatening me. She did it publicly and in DMs. I sleep with this beside my bed now. Unfortunately, the first go round, local police department did not take me seriously, and they told me that, you can maybe file a complaint. But I did put it on record. I had him record the body cam so that they knew that I was having an issue with her. And for those that are wondering, yeah, I will be taking transcripts to the police department tomorrow. That'll do.
So a reason why Kyle was really taking that threat from Brittany seriously prior to, meeting with her was because she was getting a lot of harassment. And obviously when you're someone who calls out people or talks about other influencers in general about anything, but even when you're just a public figure or a content creator, whatever, you unfortunately probably are going to get harassed here or there. But when you're someone who, like I said, is calling people out, it's going to happen more often. We tend to attract the crazies, right? So things just were not adding up, right? So Brittany had already said to Kyle, you're local to me. Why don't we just meet up? She had offered that like twice before. And Kyle was like, I didn't know. What are you going to tell me that is going to change my mind about your husband? Your husband's guilty. Like, what? Doesn't make any sense. But in regards to being stalked and harassed and this threat that Brittany had said, but then the clerk's office was like, well, no, she hasn't talked to him. It was not making sense. So Kyle met up with Brittany and was like, you know what? We should. You're right. So they went ahead and met up and got lunch, right? Did you know that the sponsor of today's video, Rocket Money, helps their customers save up to $740 a year when they use all of the app's premium features? Rocket Money is an all-in-one personal finance app that can help you cancel subscriptions, lower bills, and stick to your budgets. One of my favorite things about Rocket Money is that with the subscriptions, they go ahead and put it in a list for you. And then that way you can be like, oh, why am I paying for this one twice? 2, what even is this? Listen, that has happened so many times to me. Rocket Money has helped their customers save over $500 million in canceled subscriptions. One of my favorite things as well is that they actually will send you an email notifying you like, hey girl, you got this bill coming up. There are many times when I get that email when I'm like, oh, thank God. Okay, I won't buy this one thing. I'll hold that off. It's just better so that I can budget and be prepared for things. So make sure you take advantage of your finances today and go to rocketmoney.com/CCSUAREZ CCSUAREZ to get started for free. That's rocketmoney.com/CCSUAREZ or the link in the description box. I put it down there for you. You can also unlock more features with premium. So thank you again, Rocket Money, for sponsoring this video. And thank you to you guys for supporting my sponsors. Back to the video. Now, prior to the meetup between Kyle and Brittany, a local fan, local to both of them, technically, they live in the same area that Kyle does, which is a very small area. We'll get more into that in a minute. But on social media, this fan of Brittany wanted to meet up with her, was getting really parasocial, wanted to be friends. Allegedly, Brittany was uncomfortable and was like, no, and blocked her. So Kyle didn't even know that that was happening. So when this specific person turned their sights onto Kyle on the Coast and started interacting in their comment section, which they are still doing to this day, allegedly, Kyle didn't put two and two together and didn't realize that this person was a supporter and fangirl of Brittany Stapleton, which already right there shows a lot about that person's character. And it didn't take long for the death threats to start rolling in. So let's go ahead and talk about the meeting. Now, Brittany Stapleton and Kyle on the Coast were both being stalked and harassed. Since they're both local to each other, some of the threats that they were getting were kind of similar. They wanted to get together, compare notes basically, and maybe something could come of that. During that same meeting was where Brittany said, no, the clerk's office is wrong. I have been talking to my father, the one in prison. Here is, our communication. And she again showed like, no, I didn't tell him to do that. Now, they really didn't discuss Josh or, the details of his case or anything like that. Kyle did tell me, she's like, I did still say, Brittany, he's guilty. I know he's guilty. He pled guilty. You're still supporting him. You should really just get off the internet. And that was basically it. But again, the purpose of them meeting wasn't to, go over anything like that. It was to figure out who was sending Kyle and Brittany, but mainly who was sending Kyle. This was her objective. Who is sending her these death threats? I mean, Kyle has 2 young kids, right? That's scary. So she's wanting to make sure that not only is she safe, but her family is safe as well. And listen, if I would have to meet up with someone who I really do not agree with at all and who I've covered in videos for the safety of my family, yeah, absolutely I would. Of course. Wouldn't you do the same thing? Again, just like I said at the beginning of this video, just because you talk to, engage with, or God forbid, have to meet up with someone who you are either planning on covering or have covered previously to get necessary information, whether that be to actually interview them about something or figure out, hey, let's compare notes. You're being harassed. I'm being harassed. We think it might be the same person because they are local to both of us. And we have, had our grievances back and forth, right? So that does not mean that Kyle Connolly is retracting anything she's ever said, co-signing the behavior, anything like that. Now, Kyle did post a rage bait type of video where she tapped her card to pay for their lunch and then panned up and it showed Brittany. And so that was rage baity. But Kyle did tell me, she was like, well, the reason I did that is because someone had already posted it, 2 tables down, had already posted a picture of us. Well, put that here, but they had already posted a picture of them. So she's like, all right, well, I might as well try to get ahead of it, which at that point, it's like, you're not getting ahead of it. It's already out there. You're already behind, right? But I even told her, I was like, listen, you are more so new to this. And especially on TikTok, people don't understand nuance, God forbid. But you do short form content, right? So a lot of these people, especially on TikTok with how the algorithm works, they're not understanding your humor. If I did something like that, most people I would hope would understand she's trolling, but also, yeah, Chelsea is someone who does reach out to people and interviews people, right? So I did tell her, I was like, that was not the smartest thing to do. You could have just put out maybe a little statement that said something along the lines of yes, I am meeting with her and it's not a bestie brunch. It's me trying to get to the bottom of something, right? There aren't too many brain cells on TikTok, but not saying Kyle, but the viewers who are like, oh my God, cancel her. It's like, girl, what the girl? What are you talking about? As a YouTuber and as someone who does long form content and literally reaches out to almost every single person I do a deep dive video on, and if they are local, even offers to meet up with them in person. This is such a foreign concept to me. So that's why when people were saying it, and asking me about it, I was like, I don't understand it's not a big deal. They're not friends. I've done that before and people got mad. Some people got mad at me about it. So for instance, Caroline Calloway. Hello, Caroline, if you're watching. Caroline Calloway, she even has rebranded herself and taken back the label of scammer. Anyways, look her up. She was caught lying about something, didn't pay her landlord, a bunch of shit. And so someone had said, like, you really need to look into her. And I was like, awesome. Okay. And they're saying that she had moved down, south, like closer to me because she lived in Manhattan. And then she moved down to like the Sarasota, Florida area. And turns out we have a mutual. That mutual reached out to me and was like, hey, Caroline actually watches your videos and like wants to meet up. And I was like, that is insane. I want to like get her story and figure out like, okay, should I, do a video about it? So my husband didn't want me going alone, but he also didn't want to go because we went during the week. But I took Sloan with me, Sloan on YouTube. Hi, Sloan, if you're watching. And because he was visiting here too. And I was like, guess what? You're going with me. So he went with me and I posted a picture of like our mojito drinks that she made us on like her patio screened in balcony thing. And it's a beautiful view. But I did that and I tagged her and I was like, here's the comeback or like conversations and comebacks or something like that. Some people got real mad and they're like, that's so fake. Like, why are you going to give this person a platform? And it's like, do you not get my job? Like, what? I'm going to make a video about them anyways. Like, I think talking to them at least and not maybe trying to understand where they're coming from, but like getting a statement, that's huge. Like, that's awesome. I want to get the full story, even if I don't agree with that half of the story, right? Anyways, still, that's not even what Kyle was doing. Kyle was not interviewing her. Kyle was not trying to, get the scoop, get the exclusive. She wasn't. She was trying to figure out who is stalking me. And I would do the exact same thing. Now, I don't know if I would pay for the lunch, but I'd probably make her pay for her own. Actually, no, a lot of times I will do that because it is a business expense for me and not them. So whatever. Either way, rumors started flying. People were not happy. So both Brittany and Kyle, like I said, do live in the Florida Panhandle. These little panhandle towns are small with populations of like 7,000 to 11,000 on average. That's real little. For comparison, Tampa, where I live, has a population of over 400,000. And in most of these small towns, the news that Brittany and Kyle had lunch spread quite rapidly. So when you live in a small town like that, your content is served to people in that area a lot. So yeah, they're going to know who you are when you go to a public restaurant and sit down. So like I said, rumors started flying. People were not happy about it.
So let me get this straight. Kyle on the Coast took Brittany Stapleton to lunch and paid for her lunch. But yet she's the one who was spreading awareness about Josh Stapleton and Brittany Stapleton on her TikTok page. Like, she literally posted a TikTok showing that she even paid for the lunch. This was definitely a huge shock, I know, to her followers. Many people are starting to unfollow her. Now, she has made a video trying to explain why she went to lunch. She said it was to go over like these threats that she's been getting. She initially thought they were from Brittany. But then Brittany ended up messaging her, I'll show you that in just a second, and telling her it was not her. So she said that's the reason they went to lunch. This was the message that Brittany had sent her because Brittany did have her blocked because they literally did not like each other. She said, I'm only unblocking you because I was just told that you made a post insinuating that I messaged you from a fake account. I let all the other daily posts about me go. It's clear you and I do not like each other, but if I'm going to say anything to you, it will be from this account only. I do not have a fake burner Instagram or TikTok, so whoever's messaged you, it isn't me. I get messages like that daily, but I don't automatically assume it's you just because you seem to be the main person who hates me. Just a heads up, pull the IP address or whatever you need to do won't lead back to me. So that's what I don't get. Like, if you already knew it was not Brittany that sent those, then what did you guys actually need to meet up for in person? And not only that, she was actually standing up for Brittany in her comment section, saying that Brittany didn't know all of the charges that Josh had on him, when Brittany in fact has said herself in a post that she knew his charges, and she was fine with them. Like, she still, even after knowing, she still stuck by him. And that came out of Brittany's own mouth. So I don't know why anyone would defend and say Brittany didn't know, because she did in fact know. She's been going to court. She knows all of these charges. So this is definitely like a complete 180 for Kyle on the Coast, and I'm very confused by it myself. And like, one more point to make, even if you were going to meet and talk about, the threats in that situation, why make that TikTok, like showing that you paid for her, like showing her smiling, looking like y'all are having a great time? Like, why would you do that?
I'd like to say like the damage was done. I don't think it actually was. It'll blow over. People who actually like have a brain will, get it. But Kyle did post her own videos about it and tried to play catch up, essentially.
There's a whole lot to unpack here, and I do appreciate this comment because this decision was not made in haste. Yesterday, I posted screenshots of some threats that I received, and those threats continued throughout the day. There is an active investigation going on. There are things that I have not been able to comment on. Brittany is now informed of said active investigation, which she can corroborate that I know things that I think other people shouldn't know, right? Based on what I was told about this investigation, about her father and about Josh's situation right now. I would say I wasn't very kind to her in messages, for the record. And, equally, she's pissed at me because that's a big one. Those threats, those were credible. And I just want you all to know that while she and I were corresponding, the threats were continuing to be pinged on my phone. I am actively corresponding with her and receiving messages from her while she's typing, and these threats are just like bam, bam, bam. She was willing to send me all of the evidence to prove that it wasn't her. Obviously. It's a big deal. But I have the IP address of the person that was sending those threats. That person is also corresponding with Brittany in an entirely different way. So we kind of have like a stalker situation with Brittany, and that person is so obsessed with her that they are threatening me. Neither one of us have ever met this person. They are local to our area, and that's what's scary. They live very close to both of us. It feels weird to say that we had reached a common ground, but only in that one situation. Like, Brittany keeps maintaining that she can't talk about things, that there is a full story that needs to be told. And I didn't want to hear it. In July, I was like, save your shit. He pled guilty. He did this. He did that. Like, I don't want to hear it. And you were standing 10 toes down on a man that is a pedophile. You're not even apologizing for any one of the victims. Like, all of these things have been said to her from me, right? When all of this started to come out, Brittany actually did ask me to FaceTime her or possibly meet up with her. And at that time, no. So yesterday, after all of this discord back and forth, our heated conversation, somehow meeting on this common ground, she asked me if I'd be willing to meet up with her in a very public place. And I actually had to think about it. I called another person that is very familiar with this case. And then I actually spoke to somebody in the legal sense. And both of them said, yeah, for some reason, she has picked you. Actually, I didn't even ask Brittany why. But I'm 12 years older than Brittany. I've been through some shit. You all can look at my history. You know that my ex-husband was arrested, that my ex-husband sat in jail. I will say, threats and personal attacks aside, I was able to read between the lines in those calls. I can see her frustration, and I've even created videos about it. I have said that I don't think she knew the details of the charges initially. I have proof that she did not know. I have said a couple things that she was left in the dark about. I have. And I've gotten heat for it. Because I'm going to be truthful and I'm going to be honest. Whether there's backlash on me or not, I don't care. I just want to reiterate the fact that this decision was not made in haste. This was not made for views. You all have to realize that my life has been threatened. At the time, Brittany and I were corresponding yesterday. I got confirmation that she had not communicated these threats to her father from the powers that be. Brittany also showed me all of her communications with her father. I have them all. I'm not going to post them. Those are her private conversations with her father, but she sent them to me. I have them. That's why I was willing to meet with her, because I knew that there was no threat there. The threat lies in the person that sent me the message on Instagram. That one is very, very real if you knew who that person was and you knew their story. Yeah. So I just want y'all to know that when I showed up at that restaurant, 5 people were sent my location. One of them accidentally didn't disclose why I sent my location, but she now knows. I contacted local law enforcement that I know that needed to know where I was going. I specifically chose a restaurant where I had a connection to the owner, just in case anything happened. And also, like, I didn't want to be harassed. I needed to meet with her in a public place that was comfortable so that I could ask her the questions that needed to be asked, and I needed to see her in person. I had to go straight to the source. Of course, there were conversations about the entire scope of things. You all know that. I don't know what I'm willing to share, but I'm still mad at how she's handled things. She knows that, so I'm crying. I'm crying because local law enforcement is failing. And these threats are not being taken seriously. So I gotta calm myself down. I gotta pick up my son. I'll be back for part 2 at some point when my head is back on. About to say something. I'm gonna be very blunt and I'm gonna be very direct, but y'all are still gonna mix up my words. Josh Stapleton pled guilty because he was in possession. Plain and simple. Never once did the words come out of my mouth that I thought he was innocent. We got it? All right, let's move on. I did not turn off the comments on my previous 2 videos. Y'all got so nasty that TikTok enforced it. I'm on a 7-day hold for comments, so I don't even know if this video is going to be allowed comments. Can I override that feature? Probably. Am I going to? I don't know. We'll see how this video pans out. And another thing, leave True Crime Mama and True Crime Megan out of this. This situation that I have going on between me and Brittany Stapleton has nothing to do with them, and they don't even need to comment on it. So my why. Last Thursday, I think it was September 4th, was the day that I received those death threats on Instagram. I posted them suspecting that they were Brittany Stapleton. So Brittany Stapleton unblocked me and reached out to me because those were pretty bad threats. And on that note, let's back it up a little bit. So a FOIA request was put in by another user for the records out of the prison that her dad is in, which is in Mississippi. Through the good graces of this app, I was connected to somebody that was able to put in a FOIA request in Mississippi for the records. Somebody with a little bit more pull, you would think. Denied. And then as Brittany and I are corresponding about these threats, and I'm accusing her that it's her because I've got the IP address. I was like, hey girl, it's pinging over here in our area. It's gotta be you. I receive notification that there has been no communication between Brittany and Ricky since 2023. And I was like, there ain't no way, because she is communicating with her husband on these calls saying that she has spoken to Ricky. And I was just kind of like, no, it's not there. There's one thing y'all don't know about me. Every single one of you that is creating videos has not met me personally. Not a single one of you sees my day-to-day life. You don't see what I do outside of this little screen here because I don't post it. This is not a lifestyle content page. This is not a mommy influencer page. But those that know me personally, I'm not a mama bear. I'm a mama beast. And when I feel that my children are at risk, I'm going to do everything it takes to be able to ease my mind and to be able to sleep comfortably at night knowing that my children are safe. So on Thursday evening at 5 p.m., with all this new knowledge that I have out of the state of Mississippi, when Brittany Stapleton messaged me and said, "This is crazy, but would you meet with me in a public place?" And I would just like you all to know that it is a very uncomfortable feeling to have the things that I have beside my bed. Even though they are secured from my children, I don't like them. Now here I am with not one, but 2 threats. Say what you want about Brittany, but I don't think she would be dumb enough to coerce me to meet her in a public place and do harm to me. So like I mentioned before, I drove my big, flashy, can't miss it, bright blue Jeep Gladiator, lifted, loud, with the most advanced GPS tracker on it out of my entire fleet. Drove that vehicle. 5 people had my location. I told people who I was meeting, even though all of them were like, you do what you have to do. Not a single one of them told me no, but they're like, you go do what you have to do. We're not in your shoes. We're not in your position. Some of them not even mothers. We don't understand the mama beast mentality, but if you need to, go ahead. Maybe you can talk some sense into her. That was also talked about. So pretty much the first thing that she and I discussed was whether or not she had communicated with her dad, because if she had, I was out. I was done. She showed me how she was communicating with her dad through the approved app. Wild, right? We have talked about the stalker situation. Obsessed with her, hates me. A police report has been filed, so I have what I need to go file my restraining order against that person. But I do want to let you all know that you have only fueled this person. So I love that. For me, thanks. And for all of you that have been demanding an update, yeah, I was going to do a part 2, but you went absolutely AWOL creating videos about me discussing timelines and my interactions with a person, but you were not privy to this knowledge. You were not logged into my app. You weren't scrolling my messages. You weren't there. Now I'm going to close this by saying that rage bait video was a mistake. It portrayed the situation in a light and airy way, and I shouldn't have done that. I really shouldn't have. But as I mentioned before, there were people in the restaurant taking photographs of us, and I happened to find them online. I wanted to get ahead of them, and I could have done it a whole lot differently. Cancel culture is such a crazy thing because there was a paralegal that created a video that I know her, and she was talking about the appeals process, but you all took it as that, I was saying that he was innocent by sharing her video. I never said those words. And I would also like to say that demanding an update from me, the way that you treated me, it's not happening. Saturday and Sunday are for my kids. My kids were so mad at me on Saturday because I was constantly looking at my phone, not at this app, but I was getting text messages and phone calls and people wanting to talk to me and wanting an update and what's going on and what happened. Oh my God, blah, blah, blah. So Sunday's usually my social media fasting day. Sunday was for them because they were so mad at me about Saturday.
And Brittany did make her own post about the situation, and people are trying to say like, oh, well, Brittany turned her comments back on, but Kyle took hers off. And Kyle even said, she was like, no, I didn't. Actually, it's what she told me. She's like, no, I didn't. TikTok like saw, I guess, or flagged a bunch of the comments and increased the sensitivity filter basically and made it so there were like no comments on it. Sometimes that can happen. And I don't think Kyle has any reason to lie about that. Also, oh well, if she did turn off her comments, who fucking cares? She said what she wanted to say and that's it. I don't understand why her turning off comments for that would diminish anything. It's so stupid.
I feel like I need to document this because I am going to see someone who has dragged me across the internet for the past 10 weeks. But we decided to meet up and see how it goes. Stay tuned. And I'll add in there, I've also said some really awful things about her, not online, but to my husband. So we're even. I don't think anyone expected my brunch date today to be Kyle on the Coast, but it was, and everything went really well, which is shocking considering what's been going on social media. So for the past 10 weeks, she has blasted me in 30 plus videos, everything from speculation to actual public records, you name it. And in turn, when I would be on jailhouse calls with Josh, I would read the things that she was saying and I would bash her. And I said things like, she's a broke bitch. And turns out she's not. She bought my brunch and she ended up having to pay a parking ticket because we talked too long. So shout out to her. I guess I'll have to get her on the next date. I also said that she was a miserable divorced person. I mean, she's divorced, but I don't think she's miserable. I think she's probably a good time. I said I, wished harm against her. I would never actually wish harm against anyone. In the heat of the moment, I was angry. And yeah, I did not want anything good to happen to her, but I definitely did not actually want anything bad to happen to her. And I did not send anyone out to get her. She now has proof of that. So do with that what you will. I was just angry. And then most of all, one thing that I am not for, and although I didn't say it online publicly, and I just said it venting on something that should have never made it to the internet, I attacked her physical appearance, and that was so immature of me. I would never come online and attack someone's physical appearance, but I did it in a phone call, and it was released, and I'm extremely embarrassed. I think she's a beautiful girl. I said some hateful things, hurt people, and I just wanted to vent because I was so angry at everything she was saying about me. It's not an excuse for it, and I'm not saying we're gonna be besties, but I do think that we have a mutual understanding of each other. I think I'm not gonna speak for her, but I do think she understands maybe why I am defending things the way I am now, and I definitely understand why she's so passionate about everything. I knew deep down she was a good person. I knew that she was just so passionate about what she does for the community that she was just coming after me because she is getting a ton of information about me. I mean, you guys don't stop. You are sending her stuff all day, every day. So she just feeds out the information that she's being given. But I do think from here on out, I think we have a mutual understanding to, take it easy on each other. And there may be more jail calls that come out where I've talked badly about her. But as of September 5th, you will not hear any more calls where I have bashed her or said anything badly about her.
And of course, we want to get a little internet temperature check. So let's see what some other people, what their hot takes were basically, and just what their thoughts were.
To say something, I'm going to be very blunt and I'm going to be very direct.
Yeah, me too.
And I promise you, I don't want to know her. I don't want to know anything about her. I wish she never showed up on my For You page.
Let's talk about Kyle's follow-up video that she just posted a couple hours ago. All I'm going to say is like this. Narcissists tend to make things about anything else to get the heat off of them. Also, like I said in my last video, she tends to boast about herself or like insert things about herself in a way to like, I guess, brag. So like in her video, she had to bring up the fact that she has like 9 fleets of vehicles and then made a follow-up video to Brittany about how she's on Turo. I don't know, had nothing to do with anything. Just like she was like, I was in my Jeep, blah, 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 with the highest level of GPS. Babe, you were not on a mission from the Secret Service. And I think this was a way to make things sound a lot more serious for you guys to believe that she was in danger. Here's the thing. When you do real life crime TikToks and you're all in the true crime community, I know a lot of creators who get threatened, they get sent things. It's awful and it's definitely not okay. However, those people don't go to brunch, then make rage bait videos to post online.
Okay, don't necessarily agree with that. I do agree that she shouldn't have, done that like rage baity type of reveal video or whatever. She even says that she shouldn't have done that. But what this person's saying, like, I don't think that Kyle is braggy. I don't. I mean, she does Turo, like that is her like business, whatever. She has like other stuff going on too. I mean, she makes content about her life, not just like true crime stuff or, commentary. And so I think saying like, oh, well, you're bragging just because someone's stating something like that they have going on in their life or what they do for their job, that doesn't mean that they're bragging. That's just them saying what they do. That's weird. Anyways, I also don't think that Kyle is a narcissist. Y'all got to stop throwing around narcissist, gaslighting. Just because someone disagrees with you and has a different opinion, especially if they show facts, doesn't mean that they're gaslighting you. Just because you, again, disagree with someone and you don't like their delivery or personality, that sounds like it might actually be what's going on here. Doesn't mean that they're a narcissist. Like, dear God, it's infuriating. Also, I have seen a lot of threats, and the person that, in my opinion, is threatening Kyle, that person has proven that they are very dangerous. I have the arrest records. The person is a very violent person, and they live right by her. So yeah, I would be scared too. You haven't seen it, so that pisses me off. Again, this person, I would assume, by the time they made this video, isn't privy to the information that I'm privy to. That's just what I want to say. Let's leave that there. Anyways, let's play this other one. Okay.
Kyle on the Coast, girl, be so fucking for real right now. It's been a while since I made a time for you to get off the internet video, but girl, it's time for you to get off the damn internet. A fleet of vehicles? Girl, that's just personal vehicles. I actually had a job, a couple of them, where I was actually in charge of fleets of vehicles for the company. The cars I got outside, those are my personal vehicles. There's absolutely no way that you got on Kendra Lacari's internet. Okay, that's a joke. And try to tell us that TikTok turned your comments off. No, girl, what you did is you turned them onto approve mode to where you have to approve each comment. And you are approving exactly 0 of them. Probably because they're all reading you for the trash you are. Unfortunately, I really did believe in my little pea brain that you were going to get on this internet and make a part 2 and take accountability for the shit you pulled. But instead you got on here and gaslit us and lied to us and tried to tell us that TikTok turned your comments off. Then you tried to blame us for whoever is texting you and bullying you, okay? You tried to blame us for making that worse. Girl, you made that worse for yourself. Also, we do not care about your 10 personal vehicles, okay? We understand that you might need money to pay for all those, okay? You can get on here and lie all day long, but we know what you're doing. You're hopping on the money train. We don't care about your fleet of vehicles that are just personal vehicles. All right, moving on to Brittany Stapleton, okay? We all do not like her. I'm sure people are going to be in my comments and be like, leave her alone, mind your business. No, fuck you. I will tell you one thing that I did, and you can do it as well. I emailed the chaplain at Walker State Prison in Georgia, which is the prison that they want him to go to. Brittany and Josh, they want him to go to that prison so bad. He has some real shitty things to say about, like, he has to be a Bible thumper and pretend like he loves God or whatever the hell he said in the prison phone calls. Either way, he is in his classification prison right now, which is not going to be his permanent prison. I bet he didn't know he was going to get his head shaved in a classification prison. I love that for him. But that's not his permanent prison. So once he gets to his permanent prison, he's going to be able to talk to a chaplain who will then try to get him into the program at Walker State prison. And best believe I'll be sending an email again, and I'll be letting y'all know how you can send an email as well. One thing's for sure is that you will get nothing that you like if it's up to me. Good damn thing you didn't waste money on purple shampoo, right? Because you got no hair for it.
All right, so what actually happened at the forsaken lunch, the forbidden lunch that everyone's freaking out about, right? So like I already said, Brittany showed Kyle that she did not tell her dad to, go tell your friend to go do this to this person. So they talked more about that. And then from there, they concluded, okay, it's clearly not you. Because of course, Kyle did think like, this is you, right? Or you're the one like behind this. And then they were able to compare notes and they discussed catfishing and impersonation and stalker situations that they've both have, experienced with not local people and local people, or who they assume to be local people. And the woman that is allegedly, threatening, well, Brittany, but parasocial can go two ways. But Brittany, and especially Kyle on the coast, is a woman named Kelly Taylor. Now buckle up, girlfriend. If you need to pause it and go get a snack or something, I don't know, pour a high noon in a fancy glass. I don't know what you got to do, girl, but it's about to get crazy. So buckle the up. Kelly Taylor, or Kelly Anderson, is a 39-year-old woman who also lives in the Florida Panhandle in the Gulf Breeze area, the same as Kyle on the coast. She does create quite a lot of thirst traps. I mean, content and videos. So we could say that she's a content creator, just a, micro one. Her TikTok account has almost 8,000 followers, and she is really keeping that bold glamour filter alive. I mean, really, what does this woman even look like? I will never know. So Kelly's posting videos with her beautiful dogs in Florida on the beach, boobies sitting pretty, bold glamour filter to the highest intensity possible. And actually, if we take a look at Kyle's reposted videos, there is a familiar video, the one we previously watched where the creator was cooking in the kitchen and talking shit about Kyle. Kelly also reposted this video.
Who in their right mind rage baits with pedos? Who in their right mind rage baits such a serious situation that has to do with children? I'll tell you, Kyle, that's what she said. Her words, I wanted to get ahead of it and I rage baited. No real attorney is going to say, hey, I know that you're trying to press charges and expose these people, but go ahead and go sit down with them. Go spend your hard-earned money on them. See, starting your video off with a lie by saying, yeah, TikTok turned the comments off. The only thing TikTok filters is people's nasty comments. They're not just going to turn your comment. That was a bold-faced lie. The fact that she was able to lie like that so boldly is insane. Do you realize, Kyle, someone doxed my daughter and put my face on the same page as a page that they used to get at me? The cops quite literally told me, gather all the information, do not speak to them anymore, and we will now. The cops quite literally said to avoid said person as much as you can, and if they continue to do this, we will nail them. So I'm so confused why you decided to lie. I know why, because everybody's reaction is not what you thought it was. The only people that you slapped in the face were the children.
And Kelly has also reposted other videos that have less than not positive, just negative viewpoints on Kyle. Kelly has also interacted with Kyle on the coast on TikTok, which is actually documented here in this TikTok.
Not the Kelly Taylor, or is it Kelly Anderson, calling me fake? Girl, you really want to go there right now? You really, really, really want to tap into that? All right, game on.
So just looking at everything we've seen so far, it could just be giving parasocial, pick me. I'm not involved, but I'm on like the fringes of this, type of vibe. But if we dive deeper, it's a lot darker than that. Like I said, Kelly Taylor is, in my opinion, a violent and dangerous individual. And I say that, or rather I am of that opinion, because here's a glance at what Kelly Taylor is doing in her personal time. Now, all of this information is public record from Santa Rosa County and Escambia, and probably Escambia County. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. I don't care. And that is available for public viewing on the county clerk's websites for both counties. So here we have the state of Florida versus Kelly Marie Taylor. And we have the description as aggravated stalking following harassment, cyber stalking with threats of death or injury, which is a 3rd-degree felony. And I'm not sure if I'm reading this correctly. If there's any clerks out there, you can let me know. But what it says up here, initial, I assume that was the initial charge. And then what the prosecutor was suggesting or presenting, however you want to say that, and then what the courts ultimately decided. And that was from 2024. And then we have this one also from 2024, and it was for an emergency motion for relief against temporary injunction and motion for order to show cause for indirect contempt or fraud on the court. Since it is domestic violence, that means in Florida, at least, that it would be someone that she is in a relationship with, living with, something like that. So since they don't have the same last name, I would assume that they are, or were, hopefully never again, that they were in a relationship. So per usual, it turns out that, the perfect beach boobies bouncing in the sand, bold glamour filter applied, all that picture perfect life with your dogs is not so perfect. And what you're seeing on TikTok is actually, in my opinion, masking a pretty violent chapter in this person's life or past, or in my opinion, still currently happening. The show's still running, girlfriend. It's still on air. And in my opinion, I think that Kelly Taylor is a more violent version of Elizabeth Teckenbrock without the huge following, which thank God. Basically, Kelly Taylor has been involved in multiple violent incidents in which she has been charged with domestic violence and a third-degree felony. Now, this domestic violence situation allegedly is from where Kelly hit her ex-boyfriend in the head or eye with a wine bottle. And again, this is alleged. I was not there. Surprising, I know I wasn't there. It's crazy. But she allegedly hit him in the face with a wine bottle and it severed his part of his eye and he lost his job because flying for Delta, because you can't have vision issues and fly a plane. Well, work for Delta, Now, allegedly as well, the boyfriend's or dear God, hopefully ex-boyfriend, apparently his grandmother has dementia, and there was a situation where the grandma was about to put her hand somewhere or something like that, right? Kind of like a toddler. That's what happens with dementia, right? They're sticking their hands in an oven or something. That's not what happened, but still. So something like that, he, grabbed her to get her out of the way. And allegedly, Kelly was like, hey, I have cameras all over my house. How about I extort you? How about I say that you are, dabbling in elder abuse? Super cool, not chill at all, obviously. So she was kicked out. And apparently, I don't know this to be a fact, it has been said on social media, it is the rumor. Rumors can be not true, but it is worth noting, I think, that apparently Kelly, after being kicked out, it's rumored that she is now homeless, is just couch surfing, I guess. However, she is listed as the co-owner of a home with another family member. So she could be there. Who knows? I don't want to know. I want nothing to do with this lady. Seems insane. I feel like I should just go ahead and say this. Do not interact with her, please, you guys. This is, in my opinion, not someone to troll. She seems like a violent person and pretty unhinged. Anyone who is using the bold glamour filter seriously and absolutely not ironically is not okay. All right. So hyperboles aside, there have recently been accusations and comments on certain videos that Kelly Taylor is now posing as KyleOnTheCoast, Kyle Connolly's ex-husband. I know a lot of K's. So Kelly Taylor allegedly is impersonating KyleOnTheCoast's ex-husband and making crazy accusations, lies, as one does, that Kyle's exploiting her kids and, essentially handing them over media and stuff to PDF files and all that. And those comments and DMs and all that and, correspondence on the internet from that account that is impersonating Kyle's ex-husband is saying things very specific to Gulf Breeze, the area that Kelly Taylor and Kyle live in, and literally on there saying where the kids go to school. Why the hell would the ex-husband do that? Let me tell you, he wouldn't. So Kelly allegedly, is pulling a Elizabeth Teckenbrock just to the umpteenth degree and was impersonating a lawyer and even made a website for that. What in the Google suite Liz Teckenbrock is going on here? Come on. Also, there are anywhere from 4 to 6 accounts that this account is going between, different burner accounts. And there's also an account called Coffee Lover. I believe it's coffee.lover.543. And their name on TikTok is something along the lines of delete KyleOnTheCoast or something unhinged like that. It's so weird. And that person has been really kissing up to Brittany Stapleton lately on social media. And Brittany says, apparently Brittany doesn't think that it's Kelly Taylor, but Kyle is yeah, it do be. So she's under the impression that it is. I am also under that impression. And you can tell a lot from obviously IP addresses and stuff like that, right? But you can tell a lot from people's cadence, how they word things, how they abbreviate certain things, insults that they'll say. People slip up. You can really tell a lot from what an anonymous account is saying compared to like who you think it is, you know? Now, a lot of TikTokers have made light of the situation, and I think making light of like them going to lunch and meeting, okay, obviously you weren't there, so you don't know. But then making light of like death threats and stuff like that, don't do that, please. That's crazy. Obviously, there are people on the internet who are like, I'm receiving death threats. And it's like, okay, show it. And a lot of times they can't. Or I'm being harassed. Okay, show it. If you really are receiving death threats and being harassed, you need to have a paper trail of that anyways, because God forbid something happens later on. Take screenshots, send it to an email that you just like don't even open or something, or just upload it to Google Drive, like whatever. Obviously, don't engage with them. It's usually best to just document, block, move on, right? But it's just crazy when people are like, I'm receiving this, I'm receiving that. And it's like, girl, as someone who has received death threats, I've had people come to my house like, please stop saying that shit. It's annoying. There's a difference between like, hey, you should kill yourself. Obviously, don't say that either. Or I have this plan, or I'm going to inflict harm on you. That is a threat. So obviously, both are horrible. That sucks to hear, right? But there is a difference. Kind of like how people misuse narcissism, narcissistic personality disorder, and gaslighting all the time, right? Anyways, so here's an example of that. And it's not surprising at all, but it's gross that Kelly Taylor reposted this one that we're about to watch.
Dear Kyle on the coast, you are a dirty, stinky, poo-poo, beepy head. I will come get you soon. Haha. Sincerely, your stalker. Guys, my stalker. I have a stalker. Kyle, I am literally not your stalker. Would you like to meet up and get some brunch and talk about this? Sincerely, Brittany Stapleton. Hello, police. Someone wrote me a letter. There's nothing you can do about it? Can I go out to lunch with her? Okay, thanks. Hey, Mama. Yeah, Brittany Stapleton wants to meet up with me. Do you think I should do it? Like, go undercover a little bit, get some more information. Well, for some reason, she's chosen you. So do what you can, meet up with her, and let's get some more information. Hello, lawyer friend? I mean, paralegal friend? Do you think it's a good idea if I meet up with Brittany Stapleton? No. But I could legally, right? All right, okay, good.
So it's clear that a lot of people took the pictures being circulated of them and then Kyle trying to get ahead of it and posting, her rage bait TikTok that did not land, which is unfortunate, but understandable. And really a lot of assumptions are being made since people it doesn't really seem like they understand, or you're making assumptions because you weren't there, right? So that's interesting. People ran with it. That sucks. But again, turns out they're wrong. And I mean, I wonder if that's not going to happen. I will hope it would, but I don't think it would. But I would wonder if anyone who made a reaction or made a video about it or, reported on it, whatever, and shared misinformation and kind of fueled that fire and, viewers turning on Kyle. I wonder if any of those people would, make a video retracting what they said or apologizing, especially after Kelly Taylor's violent past is being shared. And with information proving that it is Kelly Taylor that's, sending death threats and just really being so horrible and insane. So when that's shown, or if it's shown, if it exists, I don't want to speak for anyone or, all that, but I believe that to be true. So if that comes out, then would people retract things and be like, okay, you weren't trying to make it seem like you were in danger when you weren't? I don't know about you guys, but if I was Kyle on the coast, I'd be worried for my safety as well with this lady stalking me. So remember, two things can be true at once. Brittany Stapleton can be a complete turd who I believe should be, I'm not saying we are gonna do it. It's not a threat. It's definitely hyperbolic, but I think that she should be thrown into an active volcano along with her husband, since she's still supporting him. And he's even said, it's not like you touched kids, and it's you're still a predator and a profile by consuming that content. Like, what are you doing? Ugh, crazy. So yeah, she still sucks. But also, I mean, I can understand, like, I can believe that she is receiving death threats and being harassed and all that. Absolutely. Do I think that she should just get off the internet? Yeah. But then I also think that if she's able to like cross-reference information with Kyle and help her narrow down like who is stalking and harassing both of them, yeah, that's valid. Also, parasocial relationships can be positive, meaning like the person loves you, or it can also be people who hate you. Now, do I think that if Brittany gets off the internet and it isn't like fueling the viewers and like giving them something like to harass her over, and like I said, if she's off the internet, do I think that she doesn't have to create content? She doesn't need to do that. She shouldn't have made content anyways. Like after all of this happened, she should have just ghosted. Like that's literally what should have happened. But do I think that if she leaves the internet or goes private or whatever, that she should still receive harassment? No, I don't. Obviously, yeah, you can have your opinion, of course, but voicing your opinion regarding her supporting her child predator husband, there's a difference between you voicing your opinion and then the repeated harassment, death threats, anything like that. Not only is that not healthy for her, but that's also not healthy for the people who are making those threats or doing the harassing, right? Like, go to therapy. That's not healthy for you. That's not a good outlet for you. What are you doing? That solves nothing. That doesn't make her not support her husband. That probably makes her support her husband more. It pushes her more towards him. And guess what? It sure as hell doesn't help the kids that are being subjected to these types of actions. Surely does not. So as this story unfolds, we will continue to update you. I say we, me and my many personalities, but no, it's just me here. Well, Wiggum's over there. He's snoring on the daybed. He looks like a little meatloaf. You a little loaf? Yeah, you're so cute. All right. So I will keep you updated as always. These are definitely some, the TikTok drama. And obviously, like if I have a source or like a connection or a mutual that's involved, obviously, like I'm going to talk to them, get their side of it, talk on and off the record and see what I can share and stuff and keep y'all updated. So, all right. We don't like misinformation here. We don't like when people lack nuance or brain cells. And straight into the volcano for certain people in this. Again, like I said, do not engage with Kelly Taylor. Don't do it. I don't want y'all to be subjected to her debauchery, insanity, anything like that. If she posts anything else like crazy, I will, sorry for using that word, in this sense, but if she posts anything else unhinged or we see any other like comments or unhinged stuff about her, then we will include it.
So coming from Kyle on the coast that is having trouble getting law enforcement, attorneys, the judges, legal system to act on her issue, which I support her issue completely. The videos are completely like, I don't know how, like, I support Kyle 100% in her videos in that aspect. Not in my videos. She's not a supporter of me, but I support Kyle completely in her videos and what she's fighting for. But also, I have a message. Being a victim, a survivor, I've gone through the court system, I'm here, alive. You gotta have like a really good attorney to make shit happen. And you have to have a really good situation out there to make it go through. And the reason that Kyle does not have that is because Kyle is posting online before she goes and screams for help, because she's trying to chase followers and money. If you are in an extreme danger of your life, you will not post about it. And I'm going to say this because I've been there. You don't post about it. You go to the courthouse and you ask for help. And the court system is screwed up. It's not there to protect people. In fact, there's a video where people say women in domestic violence situations don't go to the courthouse. Come to me. I'll help you. I will show you a better way. Kyle, on the other hand, let's take a minute to appreciate Kyle. I do not support the Gulfcoast Stapletons and Brittany. But Kyle, on the other hand, Kyle, I dare you to continue to keep digging into your defamation character of me and my past. You have no idea what you are getting into. And my attorneys are aware. And we are on standby.
This isn't fucking funny anymore. My safety is at risk. You all don't know who you are dealing with. And you are feeding her. Your hand fucking feeding her. I never said there was an investigation. I said there was a police report. Do you want that number? It's right fucking there. It's right there. There's the police report. Audio cut out because the captain of Gulf Breeze Police Department was calling me to let me know what had transpired on that phone conversation. And she said the CAD files are just basically a log of your calls or the interactions. That's it. And she also informed me that a bunch of y'all had put in requests for the body cam footage for when I went in. Do you want to know what we closed the conversation with? 1, she didn't want to hear the drama from Kelly. And 2, she told me I better follow through and get up to the courthouse and file my restraining order. Everybody's so obsessed with me, but have any of you done any digging into her? Go look at Escambia County Courthouse. Look at her rap sheet. Read the police reports of her most recent arrest. Read all the pages. Read all the exchange. Read what she did to her ex-boyfriend that almost cost him his career as a pilot. And let me know if you're okay with what you're doing right now.
Okay, that is it. So remember that if you are subscribed, your butt looks so good. You are cheeked up. You got cheeks for weeks. And I'm so proud of you for whatever you're accomplishing this week or even what's on your to-do list for next week. You made a list. That's great. Good job. You're one step closer to doing the things you want to do. I'm so proud of you. So you get a little pep talk. You get a butt compliment. Them cheeks. You get a compliment and a little pep talk and nice things at the end of my videos if you are subscribed. Now, if you are not subscribed, you are dead to me. I hope you kick rocks with open-toed shoes on and your face looks like a foot. So you can fix that. You can be hot, supported, successful, have great butt cheeks if you just subscribe to my channel. Like I said, if not, you're dead to me. Anyways, stay spicy, stay feral, stay a little bit delusional. That's how we accomplish our dreams. Okay, I'll see you in my next video. Goodbye.